Did you ever get to meet Ace, Vinny?
Yes, it was Drone Sound. I think it was 1992. He was hammered, and he was just laughing the whole time.
Ace definitely knows how to have a laugh.
Yeah, he was definitely. He was just laughing, and I was like, you get there and you're like, what are you going to ask these guys that they haven't been asked a million times? I just said, dude, you rock, man. Sign this, and I'm out of here.
So
I couldn't think of anything that this guy hasn't heard before.
yeah, so another thing I forgot to tell y'all was Brownie Hamilton, the guy that plays Gene Simmons in my band. He went to music school up in Nashville, and his teacher, what his name was, Ben Hines, which he's the drummer for Trickster. If you're familiar with Trickster, that's
Oh yeah,
Steve
I just
Brown.
saw him a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I just saw him a couple weeks ago.
And so
Yeah.
once we get our stuff together, like when the guys in my band get the right costumes and getting all of our, our Kiss act together, we're supposed to open up for Trickster if they ever come play here in Chattanooga, which I would love to meet Steve Brown. And if he drinks beer, me and him drinking ice cold beer, I don't know about you guys, but Coors Light's my favorite beer. I drink it like a fish.
Kevin, tell him what you drink. Kevin drinks motor oil. Go ahead, tell him about the story.
No, no, I like craft beers, Daniel. Coors Light is not my jam. I'm all about like Imperial Stouts, high octane stuff. That's what I enjoy. They're almost like liquor. Yeah,
His beer costs him like $12 for one beer.
easily.
I think, well, if I drink heavy beer, it tends to give me a headache and stuff, and it also tends to get me fatter quicker. And I can't be a too big of a heavy set space ace, because then I'd be looking like Santa Claus dressed as Ace.
Yeah, right.
This video is brought to you by Miller High Life, the champagne. All right.
Man. Oh, and another thing I got to show y'all too. This is a picture that me and my mom, when I got to meet Kiss backstage, this was in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
There's me right next to Tommy, and I don't know if you can see it, but if you look real closely, my boots are more silver than Tommy's is.
That's
pretty cool.
And
that's awesome.
And so that's my mom right there next to Paul, and that's my mom's boyfriend Mark right next to Gene. And Gene put his hand on my mom's shoulder and his shoulder.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And then there's Eric Singer right there, and Eric's smiling in that picture. And I don't usually see Eric Singer smile.
Yeah, that's true.
He just got his paycheck. Yeah.
Never mind. I'll deal with that later. I don't want to deal with that. So the way I got to meet Kiss was, I don't know if y'all know Tom Zutaut, but he lives here in Chattanooga, and he signed Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue a record contract when he was living in California, which is where Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue, broke out. And he's from Tom Zutaut is from Chicago originally. Have y'all ever heard that name before? Tom Zutaut?
I have, yeah. Yeah, I've heard it.
He lives here in Chattanooga. And I have his phone number, but I can't give his phone number out to just anybody, because you know how it is when you have a rock star's number or like somebody who's in the music business that's able to access big bands, stuff like that. Because I wouldn't want people to give my phone number out to just anybody, because honestly,
Kevin gives it out every night, don't you, Kevin?
Well, I get a lot of whenever you know what I do when I get spam calls, or whenever I get what is it say? Whenever I'd get calls from people I know, I would answer the phone and say, Freely's Plumbing Service, how can I help you? I'd say that, and then they would, and sometimes they wouldn't even say nothing. And I'd say, if you need a piece of pipe backstage, I'd be glad to help you work on it. And then they wouldn't even have a fucking clue what I'm talking about. And then I sometimes say, this report is brought to you by Freely's Plumbing Service, a man that can help you fix a piece of pipe backstage if you need some. Golly, I tell you, there's people that tell me that I'm almost like the Tennessee version of Ace because since I'm funny like Ace and I'm not really as skinny as Ace and I wasn't in street gangs like Ace, but I definitely love to make people laugh and I just like to be, I'm so good at pulling off the spaceman that I'm giving it my all. Even if I go playing with other bands and if I play some hillbilly country music or if I play some punk rock or if I play some, maybe some rock and roll songs that's not from Kiss, but by bands like Van Halen, Def Leppard, Metallica, bands that are influenced by Kiss, still dress up as Ace and do some stuff that Ace really has never done. And kind of be like that kind. Because to me, it's all about, being. I like to dress. I like to dress in ways nobody else does. I like to do things nobody else does and people like it. I bring back childhood memories because I'm 22 years old and Kiss has been around since my mom and dad were teenagers. And my dad got to see Kiss, I think, twice. I know he definitely saw Kiss on the Creatures of the Night tour. My mom wanted, when Kiss came here at Chattanooga for the Kiss Alive tour in '75, which, speaking of Alive, it turns 50 years old this year.
Yes.
And I'm going to celebrate
the greatest album ever. Greatest album ever.
Oh, yes. I love Kiss Alive.
The best.
And it's also not just one of Kiss's best albums, but it's also voted one of the best live albums by any band.
Absolutely. It's got my vote. Right, Kevin?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I really like, though, how when they did, Strutter and Deuce off that, and when Ace Frehley did that, that part on the guitar, I do that when I do my guitar solo too. When I hear it, it gives me the chills. And this might be interesting, but sometimes when I hear Ace Frehley's guitar playing like solos, I can see the image of outer space in my head whenever I hear those like electrifying, spacey solos and stuff. And I'm like, no wonder that knucklehead made me want to play guitar.
Yeah, just don't watch him now. Just don't watch Ace now. I'll spoil it for you. Watch old Ace. Watch Ace from the at least the reunion back. Watch Ace.
But Ace Frehley today, he can still play, but he's just not really. But also, what a lot of people don't know is that all the drugs and alcohol that Ace has consumed over all those years, it's kind of coming back to him because since he's getting older, because like how you treat your body when you're young, it'll come back to you when you're older. And I think it may be coming back to Ace, and Ace is not able to play as fast, and he's not able to play his technique like he used to, but he's still able to play the parts just like he did all those years and stuff. Like he still got the smoking guitar, and he can still. Heck, I'm surprised he can even stand up on stage and not be in a cane or a walker.
Dude, I am shocked. I am shocked every time I see it. I'm totally blown away. I can't even believe he's alive.
Him and Ozzy Osbourne and Keith Richards.
Yeah, him and Ozzy. I don't know. Yeah, him, Ozzy. Keith Richards. Keith Richards the same way. How's this guy still alive?
This 9 lives, I reckon. And
yeah.
Now, Daniel, do you remember the movie Detroit Rock City?
Yep, I've watched that many times.
Okay, I was Jams. You remember Jams? Remember Jams, the drummer?
Oh, Jam? Yeah, Jam. I know him.
Yeah, that was me growing up, buddy. That was me.
Oh, did you have a mom that was just like his?
Oh, she tore my Kiss stuff up. She broke my dolls. Oh, she literally went Joan Crawford. If you don't know who that is.
Well,
Yeah, that's a little before his
I've never
time.
understood why people want to do that. I mean, it ain't like Kiss is. I mean, Kiss has never hurt anybody that I'm aware of. But
Exactly.
a
That's
lot of
what
those. Well, back in those days, Kiss, I was told, was considered heavy metal. Of course, back in those days, there wasn't really much of hard rock. The hardest rock you had was pretty much Elvis and the Beatles. But then when Kiss came in, and Black Sabbath were particularly heavy metal, but when Kiss came in with the makeup, people were like, "What's the world coming to?" and stuff like that. Because I'll tell you one thing though. Yeah, and I actually want even though there's some parts of Detroit Rock City that I kind of cringe about, like in the part whenever that guy rubs his head on the windshield, and that one guy that saying
well,
that
we lived that.
those disco lovers, whenever they started,
There were the jocks. That was the jocks. They're called jocks nowadays, weren't they, Kevin?
Yep, they were. Yeah.
And so my mom is not. I mean, my mom likes Kiss too. My mom's favorite Kiss song, and by the way, my mom's name's Beth.
Awesome.
So my mom has a shirt that says Beth on it too. She'll wear it when going to Kiss related events. And question: if I ever fill in as Ace in your band, if y'all ever come here to Tennessee, if whichever one of y'all plays Beth, do you think that maybe one of y'all can pull my mom to the front? Because I know my mom would love that if one of y'all ever was to sing Beth for her. Because
I think Dave. I think I can answer. I think Dave would eat it up.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Dave would eat that shit up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And Beth is a great song. Of course, what I really like about it though is not because it's a love song, but it's Kiss trying something different out instead of sounding the same. Like Kiss being brave enough to try out something different without worry about getting bashed at. Which that's what I really one thing I love about Kiss is they don't care what other people say. If they want to try something out, they'll do it. Like they tried out the Elder. There's a lot of people that don't like the Elder. I like the Elder, but it's not really a Kiss.
Kevin loves it. Kevin loves the Elder.
Oh, yeah.
I really like the Oath. I like Dark Light. I like Only You. The only thing about those costumes, the thing about the Elder costumes is, and that was actually my first Ace Frehley costume, and I made it myself because I didn't have enough money to buy a professional costume and stuff, and so I made my own, which was the ones with the lightning bolts and stuff going down. But speaking of Ace Frehley costumes, so if y'all are wondering what my favorite Ace Frehley costume is the Destroyer one. I like that one, and I love the Love Gun costume, which I'm saving up for the Love Gun costume because that way I can try it out, and that way I can really feel like Ace.
Barry has a payment plan. Barry will put you on a payment plan. You know that.
Well,
there's a plug for Barry. Nighttime Creations, Barry Carr.
Mm-hmm.
Free plug.
Yep, he definitely does a great job with them costumes. I've never had anything fail on me. But I've seen a video of a Kiss tribute band. I think it's one in Canada. They were doing rehearsal, doing "Let Me Go Rock and Roll," and their Paul, their Star Child, the whole heel came off, and thank God that he did not, break his ankle.
Thank God he didn't kill himself. Yeah, thank God he didn't kill himself because that really looked like it hurt. It hurt.
I know.
And take it from somebody who's fallen down in those boots. And this is another thing you'll enjoy, Daniel, about playing aces. Unless you're gonna do hotter than hell boots, you don't have to worry about heels. Walking in the heels and walking in the ace boots are definitely two different things. Aces are a lot easier to walk in than the heels.
Well, that's because his were the flat bottoms, and they were,
Right.
Yeah.
And now, since I've told you my favorite Ace Flea costume to wear, what's y'all's favorite costume to wear when you're on stage?
Oh, as Ace or Gene?
It could be both.
Well, if I was Gene, I love the Destroyer look, but I hate wearing it. I hate it. Barry's version I've had, and it was a lot lighter. I now have Peya's version, and it's very heavy, and it's like wearing an X-ray machine from the dentist thing. But I also like the way I look in the Unmasked that Peya made too, and that one's actually more comfortable than the Destroyer. It's a tough call. Most comfortable costume to wear as Gene is no doubt Hotter Than Hell and Alive. As for Ace, they're all comfortable. My favorite one to wear is my Dynasty one. I love it. I don't know what Kevin. Go ahead. Tell us what your costume. You only have two, Kevin. So tell us.
I like two, but there's three to choose from. I didn't like Eric's elder costume, that jumpsuit with all the zippers, but the Unmasked and the Creatures are both very cool. My favorite is the Creatures, because it's all black and gray, silver, it really goes very well with anything else that, the other guys are wearing. So if the other guys are in the Love Gun costumes and I'm back behind the drums, I still black, still silver, still gray, so it goes well, and I think it looked great in it. So, so there. Yeah.
Now, and in case if y'all do wonder, with my Ace Destroyer costume, it doesn't really feel as comfortable like people would think, but it definitely feels comfortable enough to be enjoyable to wear. But what really gets to me is the vest having like the comments and the stars on the jewelry. Sometimes when I be on stage swinging my hair around or head banging, my hair will get stuck to the jewelry and it would hurt. And sometimes when I'm playing, I'll have to wait until after I do like a sustain chord and then quickly pull my hair and then keep playing. And it gets challenging.
Absolutely, yeah. See, that's another thing. Groups like cover bands don't understand about Kiss bands. We have to deal with costumes, and if something malfunctions, you got to have somebody. We have roadies, we have guitar techs and drum techs because if something goes wrong, somebody's got to be there to help us out fast.
Absolutely.
Kiss tribute bands are not for wussies, because if you're going to be in a Kiss tribute band, you got to be able to be prepared for stuff like that, because you will have malfunctions, and you will have your times where you don't feel like putting on the makeup, but you still do it. But and you sometimes, and may I ask, have any of y'all? I don't know about you, Kevin. I don't know if you wear your boots when you're drumming, but have any of y'all ever had like nights where you'd wear your platform boots into overtime, or maybe when you first wore them, and then you'd wake up the next morning and your feet would be itching or hurting or any of that cause?
Oh,
many cases of that one.
Yeah. It depends, man. If the boot fits good, like Barry Carr, I think makes the best boots. There ain't no doubt about it. They're reinforced. I never had a problem in his boots. I never had a problem in Peya's boots yet either. But they don't fit as good as Barry's do. Because you're dealing with small, medium, large kind of measurements here. But after wearing those crappy ones from Kiss costumes, my feet were killing me. Especially, I got like a 3.5 hours I can do in those before my dogs are. You're like, dude, I just want to get out of these things.
I originally wear a size probably 10.5, but if I ever buy Ace Frehley boots, I buy an extra size up so that way my toes can move around. Because wearing platforms, you don't want to have your feet like where you can't even move it when you're walking, because cramping in the boots is no fun.
Yeah, remember here's another helpful tip when you're in a Kiss band: always drink water because you're gonna need it. Because that way your joints don't cramp up on you, and like he just said, you don't get those pains and stuff in your spasms in your feet.
Yeah, sure.
I need to learn to drink more water, but I ain't real disciplined about it. Of course, I'm a soda drinker. I'm a Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper drinker, but I will drink some water at times. And speaking of Dr. Pepper, am I allowed to drink in this interview?
Have you seen him drinking? Oh, yeah.
Not a beer, but just have me a refreshment, especially with all this talking I'm doing and my throat getting dry and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's no copyright as far as I.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, guess what? It's Coca-Cola time again. You know what? Cold Gin's a really good song. And when I saw Mini Kiss last month before they broke into, I was all decked up like Ace, and I got to sing Rock and Roll Night with them, and I have pictures of it on my Facebook. Me and Mini Ace together. You should see how little he is compared to me.
I bet. You didn't step on one.
But anyways, so Mini Paul asked me, "What are you drinking, Space Ace?" He sat in the microphone. I told him, "I'm drinking an ice cold beer." And then Mini Gene says, "I got you." And then they wanted somebody said, "Somebody buy Ace a shot," and I'm like, "Oh dear," But and so and Mini Kiss was cool, but if I want to go see a Kiss tribute band or play with a Kiss tribute band, I would rather see one that's like built authentically like Kiss and that has the movements and that's able to, all that kind of stuff. Which Mr. Speed did a great job. Kiss Army did a great job. And I would definitely love to see Kisstory and then maybe play with y'all one day. And if you do let me play with y'all, I can even show you some cool things about the makeup and maybe show you some things that you might not know about, but that might be useful. But you all have been wearing the makeup really since before I was born. But when it comes to makeup and all that kind of stuff, I pay attention to detail of every movement that I do, just so that I can help other tribute artists out who struggle with Kiss makeup. Because doing Kiss makeup is not as easy as you think, but
people have no clue. But Kevin's an artist, so it's easy for him, right, Kevin?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't have any issues with it. Yeah, it's easy.
And real quick, Kevin. Other than Kisstory, what other bands have you played with over the years?
Just local rock bands. Doing like Scorpions and Judas Priest, Kiss, Black Sabbath, all that kind of stuff. Just learn the whole gamut, but local bands, not anything national or anything like that. Yeah.
Tell them about your Kiss. Tell them about your Kiss Unmasked band you had with your cousins and shit.
Yeah. So it started out for me with I got cousins. They're all brothers. There's three of them, and another buddy, and we started an unmasked band. Just jeans and t-shirts. I had short hair, all that kind of thing. It was just going and we would invade the open mics at all these bars, and we would take them over and do a whole set, like 45 minutes to an hour of Kiss songs, yeah. And that's how it started for me, playing Kiss live, playing Kiss out, And then it was with Vinny, Dave doing the non-makeup thing, and Vinny talked me to this. So I've been doing this now for 4 years. So, but it's fun, man. I have it. I love it. It's a blast.
Have any of y'all
just want more 80s and 90s in it. Yeah, so.
Have any of y'all ever had times where either a fan did something out in the audience or a band member said something in the microphone or something, and then it made y'all laugh while y'all was playing, but you tried not to laugh too hard to where you
I was flashed one time playing God of Thunder, and I totally her boobs were bouncing up and down. I literally lost track of what I was doing and singing.
Magic shakers.
Yeah.
This can happen to you. Don't always.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, there was a time I threw a guitar pick out to a girl and it went right down into her boobs of her bra. And then guess what? She looked at me and then I gave her the thumbs up and I gave her the ace wink.
I'm
And then
always
after,
taking out
and then after I got them, and then after I got them playing, she said, "Thank you, darling."
Player.
Well, I almost killed our Paul Stanley at one show there, Daniel. I lost a drumstick and it went over the drums and it landed on the stage in front of the drums and he stepped on it. And he almost went ass over elbows, but he caught himself. But outside of that, nothing.
Yeah, and that's not the first time Dave was almost taken out by the Ace Frehley because I kept telling the Ace Frehley that was with us, I said, listen, dude, you got to go wireless. You can't go around with cords anymore. You're going to kill one of us. And he literally tripped to Paul Stanley 3 times in one show and then was caught up on him on another show. It's just like, that's it, dude. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Platform boots and wired guitar cables don't get along.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let me tell you about my fun experience. So Aunt Betty, the band that I was telling y'all about, that's a low. And if y'all do come play here in Chattanooga, I'm gonna try and get Aunt Betty to open for y'all. You'll love it.
Very cool.
But I was playing "Lick It Up" with them in Ace Frehley outfit, and I said in the microphone, "We're gonna do a Kiss song here that Ace Frehley generally has no business playing because he wasn't in Kiss at this time, but he's gonna do it anyways." And so and then of course the band got a kick out of it. And then as we were playing "Lick It Up," you know the part where I think the "Lick It Up, wow, lick it up, it's all you need, so believe me." So instead of saying "lick it up," the drummer said "lick my butt, lick my butt," and I almost fell off the stage laughing, but I had to continue playing. And then I said to the drummer, "From now on, you gonna have to start saying that because that's." And then the drummer was like, "All right." The audience, some of the people in the audience was like, "Come on!" And then some of the people in the audience loved it. And I said, "Just put safety first, you know."
Right.
It's a diverse crowd. It's
to me, rock and roll is to be about freedom, you know.
Absolutely.
What? You want to say hi to the guys again? Hey, Pearl wants to say hi again. Say hi, Pearl. Yeah. That's a. I had Pearl for about 2.5 years, and man, I'll let her out to use the bathroom. She'll chase them squirrels and them birds, and she'll run. And, but yeah,
that will keep you in shape alone, chasing the dog.
Oh yeah.
You stay in shape, chasing the dog.
How long has History been going on?
It's going to be 30 years next year.
Wow.
1996.
30. Oh, the same year when Kiss did the reunion tour.
Yeah, pretty much. I finally had a job for over a week, and and I saved up some money, and I started, like I said, like you did, from the ground up. It's
yeah.
And it was literally 11 years before the first actual real History show happened. It was 11 years in the making. In 2009, the first show finally happened after all those years of auditioning and dealing with trying to find people in your area. And then the internet came and it made it easy to find people.
Yeah, it's a lot harder than I thought it was if you're going to put together a tribute band, a Kiss, a Motley Crue, a Van Halen, or AC/DC, or any kind of tribute band. It's hard to get guys to at least in your town to be able to do that. Which, don't get me wrong, here in Chattanooga, Chattanooga's a real laid back town. A bunch of just people that just love all sorts of music and stuff. You know, since you two are from New York and stuff, and since to me a lot of people say y'all are Yankees and stuff. Down south, down, especially the way how our accent is, how we got that southern drawl and stuff. A lot of people here, they love all sorts of music, and they're if y'all ever come down to Chattanooga will love you guys to death. They'll appreciate history more than mini Kiss. I'll tell you that.
I hope so. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and if I do fill in as an ace, everybody, Aunt Betty's definitely, Aunt Betty will definitely have to open up. Of course, Aunt Betty is a big sponsor of me, and they really help me out because right now I'm struggling with my music career because I don't really have any bands to play with. But for right now I'm just still learning different music on guitar and stuff, and just trying to just in case if the Psycho Circus don't make it, I can join another band, or in case if a professional Kiss tribute band like y'all ever come around, I'm just still waiting,
Hey, what's your best gig story?
Well, I've got a lot of cool gig stories, but I'll tell you one. Me and me and my band, we went last year, and it was actually our second, show when we was starting out. We battled against a Nirvana tribute band, and we won the battle because we had the lighting, and I set off smoke out of my guitar, and the guy that plays Gene Brownie, he spat the blood, and the other guys didn't have all that kind of stuff. And it was an interesting gig, and there was a lot of people dressed up as it was almost like Halloween coming super early. There was people dressed up as anime characters, and there was people dressed up like astronauts. There was people dressed up like dinosaurs. It was almost like a private Comic-Con. And when we played, when I first saw these people come in, I looked at Brownie and I said, Brownie, what the hell did we get ourselves into? And then Brownie says, you're going to find out. And so my heart's beating, and I don't usually get nervous when I go up, because whenever I go up on stage, I say to myself, I don't get nervous. I make other people nervous. And it was a good gig, but I had to let go the guy that played Paul in my band because he was playing too long, and he was playing parts he shouldn't have been playing and stuff. And well, I didn't fire him, but we just, he just didn't really have the passion to be able to pull off, Paul Stanley. So he's mostly a jazz lead guitarist, and although he definitely likes Kiss, but he just didn't really do it the way he should have done. But when we played that gig, after the two bands got done, they had a DJ there that was playing some, disco music and playing all that kind of stuff, and it was quite an interesting gig. But I'll tell you one though that's probably the craziest road story for me. So I went to Atlanta to go play an Autism's Got Talent event, for people with special needs. I was suffering a bad toothache, and I had to put on the makeup, and I had to play with a toothache. And let me tell you, Vinny, it was horrible. I was brave enough and man enough to still play it, but man, it became really hard on me, and spending that time doing the makeup. But my mom and my sister gave me some medicine to be able to take. So on the road going to Atlanta, it was really rough, and I couldn't really eat very well. And then luckily that when getting up on stage, you forget about your pain. Once you're up on stage, you're focused on playing and getting it right and not disappointing fans. And so then after I got done, after we left Atlanta, we stopped in a Buc-ee's, and I was in my Ace outfit, and I got some pictures with some people. And then, although there was a bunch of college kids in there who, was kind of having the new generation be here, saying, "Hey, that's a sick that's a sick outfit and stuff." I'm thinking, and there was hey, that costume's dope. And then I'm like, yeah, what you're looking at is something that's been around way before any of us have been alive. And then I had one woman ask me, are you dressed up for Halloween? I'm like, absolutely not. I'm dressed up as Space Ace from Kiss, the real deal. And she didn't really know what I was talking about. And of course, I said, I know you know who Kiss is. And it was just, it was kind of it was a hell of an experience. I'll tell you that many. Playing with a toothache and just, dealing with some weird people. I looked, whenever I went to bed, I looked at my reflection in the mirror and said, what the hell's the world coming to?
All right, brother. It's been great talking with you, man.
Absolutely.
And
Hey, Charlie!